When visitors come to the Myrtle Beach area, are they on a vacation or a paycation? This morning's guest will answer that question. Meet him. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Graves Pools and Spas on Highway 544 in Socastee between the Intercoastal Waterway and South Carolina 31. We're focused on the local tourism economy, and we're visiting with Dr. Taylor Damonte, an associate professor and director of the Brittain Jr. Center for Resort Tourism in the E. Craig Wall Senior College of Business Administration at Coastal Carolina University. Good morning, Dr. Damonte.
Nice to see you, Chris.
Thank you so much for coming in. That's a big title. How do you put that all on your business cards?
A lot of names. Sometimes we feel like a NASCAR driver out there, but we get a lot of support from a lot of people and a lot of organizations, and we're thankful for it.
Oh, absolutely. Both at Coastal Carolina University, right up the street, and then, of course, the E. Craig Wall Senior School of Business Administration is right there, obviously on campus, and the Brittain Jr. Center is there. Is it housed there on campus?
It's housed within the College of Business, the Wall College of Business at Coastal.
Do you teach both undergrads and graduate students?
Right now I'm teaching undergraduate classes. I do have one graduate student at the moment, but primarily undergraduate classes.
Good. Really keep your hands dirty. I mean, keep it in the fray.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we just started a master's program, an MBA program, last year.
Right.
And as that grows, I'm sure there'll be more interest from the students in the resort tourism.
Oh, yeah. We filmed over in Wheelwright Auditorium a couple months ago and interviewed both Dr. Dyer and Dr. Lowenstein, I believe, Henry Lowenstein, which was fascinating, and hearing about the program, which has really kicked off, and Dr. Stamey, John Stamey writes a column like yourself for the Herald. He was really excited about the program, Henry, there.
Yes.
Kicking off strong already.
Yes, I'm sure he was, and it is growing.
Are you originally from the area? Do you mind if we call you Taylor, or are you
Please.
Dr. Damonte?
Please.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tuesday morning, early,
please.
7 a.m.
We're at the pool here. And,
we want to be in the spa, that's right.
Right. I'm originally out of New Orleans, actually, and lived in several different places. Went to school up at Virginia Tech, and spent a few years in Columbia, and have been here since '98. My wife and I both.
Yes. And your wife's actually at Coastal Carolina University as well.
That's right.
We heard, I think Dr. Dyer even talked a lot about her during his interview about how she's really helping to not restructure but plan, was it community forums or something that's really helping to interact Coastal with the community?
Yes, she's coordinating the strategic planning process this year.
Yes.
And, but she's also a professor, or associate professor in strategic management, and handles the international programs. Right.
That's great. Well, we've seen your picture in the Business Journal, the Myrtle Beach Area Business Journal, housed in the Myrtle Beach Herald for year after year now. You and Gary Loftus.
I suppose that's right.
Right.
And Gary and I have worked on this study since the beginning, actually, since 2003, I think, is when we started it. And we write the monthly piece. We also send out a weekly newsletter.
To lots of folks.
To lots of different people, and for lots of different reasons. Of course, city government, county government lives by the ebb and flow of tourism on the Strand. It's sort of like the weather reporter. It's become that. I mean, you need to know whether or not it's sunny or it's raining, and perhaps how many visitors are in the area. So it's become sort of that part of the quality of life in the area.
Absolutely. And as kicking off almost 5 years ago now, in 2003, I'm sure that annual, that 5-year piece will come up soon. As you think about that and reflect back on the 5 years, any themes that folks need to think about, not to put you on the spot, since I know you do that piece, you work in tandem with Gary and others there at the center. Well,
I think the underlying theme over that 5 years has really been growth. If we look back to, if we compare this to the time period of the mid-'90s, which we did some analysis of
Really?
lodging demand in the mid-'90s in
Right.
this area and across the state when I was at another institution. And there was tremendous growth starting really from the mid-'90s and on up through today in the area, both in the lodging amenities and in the attractions and built and otherwise that draw those amenities. So that's really been the underlying theme is just the growth phenomenon,
Growth's
the
a big
tourism
word.
phenomenon, the in-migration phenomenon, all of that.
Right. And that's a two-pronged sign. When you talk about growth, that's also growth of properties here in the area as well as growth
People.
in general. As we've seen in your monthly column there, the Pulse of the Strand and in the Herald, we've seen that aspect of, I think even this month's piece, the January one, highlighting, or the one that's kicking off here in February, just highlighting the amount of addition of rooms in the area.
Right.
Is,
And of course the infrastructure that goes along with that is, when I talk to my students about that, and mention to them, oh, by the way, Highway 31, you probably drive it every day, or Highway 22, those didn't exist 5 years ago. And Carolina Forest as an area, it wasn't there. So
Right.
as a built environment.
As built as is now, right?
So it brings up, it results from that underlying growth
Sure.
and the desire to be in the Grand Strand.
I'm sure for students who are here oftentimes just on a 4-year basis who do get used to those roads or the developments, it would be difficult for them to imagine their lives without using those roads. But it's easy for folks like yourself who've been here long enough to see prior to and then what it's like now. It's been landscape change. I mean, it's really changed this marketplace.
And as that continues to grow, that road infrastructure, the Highway 73 eventually, but even before that with the new connectors, the Harrelson Boulevard connector, the Main Street, North Myrtle Beach connector.
Right.
All of those will have a major impact, I'm sure, on the desire to be and eventually what gets built in the area.
Yes. You spoke a little bit before we began the interview this morning about one of your classes right now. I think you said you've got 18 seniors in there, or a group of seniors now, 18 students in there.
Yes.
Fascinating what you were sharing with us about how you've broken the class up into 6 groups of 3. Share with viewers a little about what you all are doing there.
That's really the application to the educational experience at Coastal is really why we do the research that we do.
Right.
And the students are majors in resort tourism management. They're seniors by the time they get to that class. And we put them in teams really because the issues there are so many issues that one person couldn't really deal with all of them in 14 weeks of a semester.
Right.
So we do put them in teams, and they deal with basically the reports that they create are designed to speak to 2 different constituencies. On the one side, the developers in the financial industry, and on the other side, the city planners and the community. Right. And so their presentations, their final presentations at the end of the semester, and by the way, they are open to the public. We send out some releases typically a couple of weeks beforehand to make sure that they do have real developers and real city planners and
who will
private
show up,
individuals.
And you've seen that the last few years of teaching this class, that folks show up and come out?
We have.
Good.
And we create, every semester we create a different sort of palette, a blank page, if you will, for them to work with and to dream about what could be. Right. And basically it's about, they succeed based on the depth of their research and the depth of their innovation. Right. And part of their proposal deals with the financial side of it. They do a in-depth financial feasibility statement for each of the business elements. If they create a hotel, that's a little bit different and quite a bit different than a timeshare, for instance, than a condo hotel, and each one of those has a different timeline of cash flow over the life of the development. And
we're talking about college students, college seniors, undergrads doing this. That's tremendous. Well, I mean, to see, at least based off of what you were showing me here on the computer there, it's fascinating.
And, They are just undergraduates,
Right.
but they have completed all the business foundation courses
Right.
up to the senior semester,
Right.
and so they have created, or they have finished both Introduction to Finance and Commercial Real Estate Investment.
Right.
They've completed a marketing class. They've completed management class,
Right.
quality process management class if they're resort tourism majors.
Sure.
So
Right.
tourism research or the economics of tourism and leisure. There are a number of electives within the program that are targeted just specifically towards the issues that they eventually have to
do in this
apply
class,
in
yeah,
the
sure,
senior
and in the real
project.
world, sure, sure.
But and they also, because we do the research within the department, we give the students access to a level of data that a person not affiliated with the research would not have. So, for
Right.
instance, they know what the midweek and weekend occupancy rates are for the industry.
Right.
They
right.
know perhaps how that differs between the hotel industry and the condo hotel industry. They know how it looks in the vacation rental home segment.
Right.
So when they go to include those elements within their resort design, and you can see from the layouts that we've given you some examples of from last semester.
Oh yeah.
There's an infinite number of different possible combinations of cafe, shops, and restaurants, entertainment facilities,
Right.
hotel, timeshare, condo hotel, that could work in any given site.
Right. Right.
And so their job is to use the research that both that we collect and make available to them,
Mhm.
as well as the secondary research that we show them how, the due diligence, if you will, that we show them how to proceed with. Trade journals, local industry
Right.
data, and to come up with their own highest and best use of this site. This last few semesters, we've given them, this particular class, we've given them an 11-acre site, which crosses, the reality of it is it crosses several different parcels owned by several different companies,
Right.
so as not to make it a political issue.
Sure, sure.
But in this semester, we're doing some sites in North Myrtle Beach
Good.
that are of interest to that community.
Oh, yeah,
and
very-
we'll provide a interesting. And again, that's one of the areas that has new transportation infrastructure,
Yes.
almost ready to come in online.
The Main Street connector
Right.
and the interface. Absolutely.
And that will change the whole retail gravity of that
Oh
area.
yeah, dramatically.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it now changed
Sure.
it. I mean, as folks begin to get in their mind, how am I going to take advantage of that roadway? How am I going to do some signage? What kind of marketing am I going to do to tie into that? Much like we talked about earlier with Shannon Graves McKenzie this morning, who owns Graves Pools and Spas, about how the road out here is Leisure Lane, right here for Graves Pools and Spas.
Yes.
But of course, everyone associates it with Highway 544, and she said Leisure Lane's not yet on MapQuest. Those are the little things when they're given directions, and you
That's
have to
right.
think about Google or Yahoo or
That's
MapQuest.
right.
What do we have to, and I'm sure your students have to take that into account. For
Yes.
new roadways, how long will it be until the North Myrtle Beach connector actually shows up on MapQuest? Little things like that I'm sure
exactly.
your students have to think about.
Certainly, and even after it's built and perhaps it's on MapQuest, perhaps it won't be a particular route won't be chosen because perhaps it's not the most direct.
Right.
But you can imagine if for instance, you were coming in on 501 in Aner and you come to the Y, or the choice between, do I go 22 or do I
Right.
continue on? And there are a lot of issues that might impact which choice might be the best for you.
Oh, yeah.
How many people in the car, what their state of mind is, and if your ultimate destination was perhaps the new Hard Rock Park or
Right.
a particular golf course. While coming straight down 501 might be the shortest geographically,
Right.
depending on what time of the year it is, MapQuest doesn't change based on this month or next month.
Oh yeah, good point.